Coach Northern joins us. A tough loss over the weekend to Arkansas Pine Bluff. If you could just kind of recap that game and then talk about Valley coming into town this weekend, what you see from the Delta Devils, and then we'll open it up for questions.
Well, it was almost, if you take our game we played against Texas Southern, it was the same type of thing. Hadn't lost at home in a while. Really couldn't establish the running game. Had quite a few, some turnovers. We had some penalties. The referees probably need some rotator cuff surgery. I think we had 15. They had 17. But the thing about it, ours just came at a very bad time. We had one on, I think, a 3rd and 29. We get a defensive holding on the ball that lands about 3 rows deep in the track. We have another one on 2nd and about 25. A defensive holding the ball lands out of bounds. But we just got to do a better job. I got to tell my guys, miss blocks and miss tackles is what cost us the game, not miss calls. But we just got to get back to the drawing board, do the same things that we were able to do against Texas Southern, and communicate better with our players from a coaching staff standpoint. I think we had some breakdowns in communication, and we just got to get back to the drawing board this week against Valley. Valley brings in my opinion, a very good team. Despite their record, I see definite improvements. I see a scheme that can cause you problems, especially for me as a defensive coach, if we don't play the correct techniques, if we don't squeeze down wrong shoulder, if we don't do a good job of tackling, it's going to be a long ball game. 2 and 22 in my opinion, 2 of the better backs in the conference. They sort of remind you of Richardson and a big back that Alabama had a couple years ago. You got one that's small and can make anybody miss in the phone booth, and you got a big one that can run over anybody. And then they got Paul Cox out there at receiver that can cause problems for any defense. Last year I think we had a shutout going into the 4th quarter, and all of a sudden Paul got hot and scored 2 of them real quick on us. So we have to make sure that we're aware of where he is. And bottom line, we just have to do a better job of stopping the run and tackling. So you don't see one wolf making the kill. We got to have a whole lot of wolves to the football.
Coach Northern, good morning. Charles Evans from WPRL.
Yes.
Yeah, just talk a little bit about how tough it is these last couple of losses. You have 4th quarter leads and just let them slip through your fingers.
Well, I think that's one thing. I don't say you expect it as when you're dealing with such a young and injury-riddled ball club, but actually it goes back to attention to details, and you can't say it enough as a coach. Like I said, I don't question my guys' heart, and I question their effort and their attention to details when you see them messing up small things late in the ball game, or you see them do some things that's out of character for them. Like I said, you talk about making decisions based on convenience when you're fatigued, and we can't do that. Guys may play a wrong technique, and that's how we get some of those holding calls. Play, don't keep the outside arm free against certain running plays, and the ball bounces right where they belong. So the bottom line is we just have to pay attention to detail for 4 quarters, and that's the difference of us winning and losing a ball game. And we got some breaks against Texas Southern, unfortunately against Pine Bluff. We didn't get some of those same breaks, or we didn't create some of those same breaks. They gave us 6 points on bad snaps, and anytime you get there as a coach, you feel like you should win. Then we block another punt, and we just couldn't convert. We couldn't establish our running game. We didn't win any one-on-one matchups from a receiver standpoint, but and like I said, we didn't stop the run, and that's something we have to do this week.
I know 2 tough losses, 2 high-scoring games. Do you feel better about your offense, the fact that after week 1 and that SWAC challenge didn't score a lot, but now these last couple of games for Texas Southern and the game this past weekend, you're able to put more points on the board?
Yeah, and like I say, you can look at the score, and most people just think of offense, but you have to look at the points that our special teams have put on the board as well. Basically 14 came from special teams against Texas Southern. We got 6 this past week, but that's their job. I don't care what the score is as long as we win. If we win 3-0, our offense had a good game in my opinion. But there's always things you have to work on as a coach, and we got to figure out ways to get the ball to our playmakers we got to figure out ways to not leave plays on the field when we got, maybe a guy running open or, a receiver. We can't drop as many passes as we've been doing. But like I say, we got a young ball club. We'll correct those mistakes, but, we got to focus our guys in on the task at the hand. And I tell them we got to win one in a row. That's the biggest thing we got to do every week, one in a row.
Coach, Pine Bluff was able to run the ball on you, and I know Valley put up some impressive rushing numbers this past week at Alcorn. Is that a concern?
It's always a concern. A bigger concern I have, we played 3 ball games and have 0 turnovers on the defense side of the ball. So, we definitely have to get better. And like I say, if we run into the football, we'll get some of those turnovers, in my opinion. And like you say, some of our effort at times is puzzling to me. We got injuries, but I'm not really concerned with the injuries. If you're out there, that means you can help us win a football game. But we got to get more hats to the ball. When we do have some errant throws, we got to find a way to come up with those interceptions. Like I say, it may be a reason why some of those guys playing DB, but some of those interceptions that we're missing is uncalled for.
And then talk a little bit about the emergence of Lovelock. Threw for 259 yards this week, and also Spencer Nelson had a big game for you.
Yeah, but like I say, we still expect more from those guys. We're still leaving some plays on the field in terms of, maybe a bad read or a bad throw here or there. Spencer is one of our top guys. He helps us in our kick return game. We can line him up in the backfield and get the ball to him, and we can line him up in the slot. He's pretty reliable, but like I said, he cannot make decisions of convenience when he gets tired. I tell him, hey, if it comes to it, then either we have to pull you out or you got to get in better shape. It's that simple, because we're not going to change what we're doing on offense. Those guys are going to have to become us. We're not going to become them. So if that's the case, we'll start back huddling up. But, Lovelock is a gamer, but he still got to get more in tune to some things, and we got to do a better job of protecting them at times. And one way we can protect the young quarterback, we have to establish the run.
I was just going to ask that. Are you looking for more out of your running game? Obviously, you're a little unbalanced right now.
Yeah, we're always going to have to look for more, because, like I said, it can take a lot of pressure off of the young quarterback and the young receivers and, our undersized, undermanned defense right now. If we can run the ball, like I said, I'm not really concerned about time of possession. I think that's an overrated stat. My biggest thing is getting points and not giving up points. So defense has to find a way to get off the field and not give up as many penalties as we did last week. And offense, like I say, we got to be able to run the ball. I know right now, I played for Coach Morgan. I played for Coach Graves. I'm pretty sure exactly what we're going to see on defense, a loaded box, and we got to win some one-on-ones outside. But even at that, I tell my running backs, you got to account for one guy. Either you got to run over him or make him miss. That's up to you.
Your defense, however, was able to get to the quarterback. You recorded a number of sacks in the game against Pine Bluff, so you've got to be at least happy about that pursuit.
To be honest with you, I'm not. I mean, we had 7 sacks, and we probably left, I want to say, at least 3 where we had him wrapped up, and he escaped and may have completed a pass. So, like I say, I take no happiness in the stats from that ball game. Some guys had a good game. Adrian Hampton probably, 10 tackles, 4 sacks, maybe 2 for loss. That's good for him, but, we didn't win the ball game, so it really doesn't, mean a whole lot right now.
Any other questions for Prairie View head coach Heishma Northern?
Yeah, Coach Charles Edmond again. Coach, when you look at the West race right now, I know it's early. I mean, with Grambling losing and your team's dropped a couple, UAPB right now on the western side, what is it about that ball club? They just kept fighting. They got a freshman quarterback. Their defense is pretty tough. Talk about that team overall and what you see in that team.
Well, we knew they had a couple playmakers on the offensive side of the ball. In particular, we always had to know where number 1 was. But they just kept making plays. The quarterback found a way. Like I say, we had him wrapped up a couple times, and he found a way to get out, and he complete a pass. We may have him. It may have been 3rd and 14, and he'd throw a 6-yard route, and we missed 2 or 3 tackles on the play. And, that kept drives alive, and we couldn't find a way. Even though that third down numbers were not great, it was a crucial situation where we didn't find a way to get off the field. But like I say, they kept on fighting. They had a momentum swing, and they just kept on playing and kept on playing, and you could see the guys on their sidelines start to feed off of it, in particular their defense. And like I say, we just couldn't create a break. But I said it earlier this year, with all the inexperienced quarterbacks on the West, with us, Texas Southern, Pine Bluff, Grambling, all basically playing freshmen and sophomores. I want to say the kid from Southern is a sophomore. It's going to be some times where, you think you can hang your hat on that kid, and he may not be ready for that situation. There's going to be sometimes he's going to do some things that, people are going to think he's the second coming of Steve McNair, and, lo and behold, he's not going to be able to do some things. So this may be the year we're a 3 or 4 loss team in the West, so we may have 5 different tiebreaker scenarios at the end of the year, because, you never know who may be who and who may lose to who. So it's still a long ways to go.
Well, with that being said, what do you think would be the common denominator in terms of a team coming out of the West? Would it be defense? What do you think would be the one thing that would stand out for a team with that inexperienced quarterbacks?
Defense, and who can run the ball the best out of all of us. I think that's, simply put, that's what it's going to come down to, and whoever can stop the run. Because, if everybody's going to try to run the ball to, quote-unquote, hide their quarterback, then that's going to mean that, you got to be able to stop the run, and that's what championship teams do, and that's what they have to do. So I think it's going to come down to who can run the ball, who can stop the run, and maybe whose quarterback gets hot that one game where, all the marbles are on the line,